Cancer, August 24th carries a very personal message for you, and I want you to listen closely because there is something here that may feel strangely familiar. When you are no longer present in someone's life, that does not always mean you are forgotten. In fact, for some people, your absence makes them realize just how much your presence meant. You may have walked away from certain people, relationships, friendships, family situations, or even workplaces, believing that once you left, everything would simply continue as normal. But for some of these people, it didn't. Your memory stayed. Your energy stayed. And whether they openly admit it or not, you may have become the person they compare others to. Cancer, you may have become the standard without ever trying to be. Some people may not even realize they are doing it. They meet someone new, work with someone new, or form another connection, and something about that person reminds them of what they had with you, or reminds them of what was missing. And this is especially strong around August 24th. If you've ever had that strange feeling that someone from your past still remembers you long after you expected them to, this message may be speaking directly to you. Maybe it's an old relationship. Maybe it's someone you once worked with. Maybe it's someone who was close to you but is no longer part of your life. Or maybe it's simply someone who never fully appreciated you when they had the opportunity. Now, with distance and time, they may be seeing things differently. They may be remembering the small things. The way you showed up. The way you cared. The way you handled responsibilities. The way you gave people chances. The way you brought a certain energy into their lives. And they may finally be realizing that you were not as easy to replace as they once believed. For some Cancer viewers, I strongly feel that this connects to someone who thought they could simply move on and find someone better. They may have believed that losing you wouldn't matter. They may even have taken you for granted. But eventually, reality has a way of teaching people what they failed to appreciate. They may have met other people. They may have started new relationships. They may have entered completely different situations. Yet something still doesn't feel the same, because they aren't actually looking for another person. On some level, they are looking for the qualities they experienced in you. And that is something they cannot recreate simply by finding someone else. You are you. There is only one you. And Cancer, this is not about saying that you are better than everyone else. It is about recognizing that your combination of qualities, experiences, personality, loyalty, wisdom, and energy is unique. Nobody can duplicate that exact combination. The number 888 may be especially meaningful around August 24th. Carries a message of abundance and reward. And I don't believe that reward is only about money. For you, abundance may come through peace. It may come through better relationships. It may come through opportunities. It may come through finally feeling comfortable with yourself. It may come through realizing that you no longer need validation from people who once made you question your worth. That is a powerful kind of abundance. Cancer, there is also something important here about your work and career. You may have been someone who worked harder than people realized. You may have quietly carried responsibilities. You may have continued doing your best even when nobody was giving you enough recognition. And there may have been someone in a position of authority who underestimated you. Perhaps they didn't recognize your talent. Perhaps they took your dedication for granted. Perhaps they even made you feel as though you weren't as capable as you really were. But deep down, they may have known exactly how valuable you were. Sometimes people try to diminish someone's light because they feel uncomfortable standing next to it. If you've ever experienced that, August 24th brings a reminder. Their inability to recognize your value does not reduce your value. You know what you are capable of. And the people who genuinely matter will recognize it too. If you have already left a job or situation where you felt undervalued, there may be people there now realizing that replacing you isn't as simple as they thought. They may have assumed someone else could immediately step into your place. But eventually, they notice the difference. They notice the way you worked. They notice your consistency. They notice your dedication. They notice the things you did that nobody appreciated until you stopped doing them. And that realization can create regret. But Cancer, you don't need to return just because someone finally understands your value. That chapter may already be complete. You have learned something important. When a situation repeatedly shows you that it is not right for you, you don't have to keep forcing it. You don't have to stay where you are constantly being undervalued. You don't have to keep giving chances to people who repeatedly waste them. You don't have to keep explaining yourself. There comes a point when you simply say, "I've learned the lesson," and you move forward. That is one of the strongest energies around you on August 24th. Moving forward. You are becoming someone who knows how to let go. Once something is truly finished, you are learning not to keep putting it on a pedestal. You don't need to look back and convince yourself that the past was perfect. You can acknowledge what happened, learn from it, heal from it, and continue. And because you are doing that, you are beginning to attract different people. Better connections. More respectful connections. People who appreciate your presence instead of simply benefiting from it. People who understand your boundaries. People who don't constantly drain you. This can happen in love, friendships, family relationships, and your professional life. You are becoming more selective about who gets access to your energy. And that is not selfish. That is growth. Cancer, there is also a message here about your wisdom. You may have a natural ability to understand situations deeply. You may see things that other people don't immediately notice. Your experiences have taught you lessons that cannot be learned from a book alone. And some people may have underestimated just how much wisdom you carry. You may have been the person others came to for advice. You may have helped people through difficult moments. You may have shown people what healthy behavior looks like simply through your own actions. And sometimes people only understand the value of that example after they lose access to it. That is why the idea of becoming the standard is so strong in this reading. You are not necessarily trying to be an example. You're simply living your life. But other people may look at your choices and realize what they actually want from their own relationships and lives. They may compare future connections with what they experienced with you. And that can be uncomfortable for them because they may realize they did not appreciate you when they had the chance. But Cancer, you don't need to carry their regret. That belongs to them. Your responsibility is your future. There is also a beautiful message about transformation. The butterfly energy represents change, growth, and becoming a new version of yourself. You have changed. Maybe you don't react to things the way you used to. Maybe you don't chase people anymore. Maybe you don't feel the need to prove yourself. Maybe you don't keep going back to situations that have already shown you their true nature. That is growth. And when you stop carrying the emotional weight of the past, you become lighter. It's almost like the wind is finally able to carry you forward. You are no longer dragging old situations behind you. You are moving. You are allowing life to take you somewhere new. And Cancer, that movement is attracting better energy. The people entering your life now may feel different. Your connections may feel less exhausting. You may find yourself surrounded by people who give as much as they receive. People who respect you. People who genuinely want you around. People who don't make you feel like you have to earn their appreciation. That is one of your rewards. And then we have the number 303. For this message, 303 represents completion and the closing of old cycles. Something that has been repeating may finally be coming to an end. A relationship pattern, a workplace pattern, a pattern of giving too much, a pattern of accepting less than you deserve, a pattern of constantly looking back. You are closing that cycle. And once that cycle closes, 111 brings the energy of new beginnings. A new version of you. A version of you that understands your own value. A version of you that doesn't need to chase. A version of you that doesn't need to compete. A version of you that can simply say, "This is who I am, and I am comfortable with that." That is powerful. Cancer, if someone from your past still thinks about you, let them. If they regret losing you, let them. If they compare other people to you, let them. You don't have to turn around. You don't have to reopen doors. You don't have to prove that you were worth keeping. Your life is moving forward. And there may be moments when you suddenly remember someone from years ago, or someone unexpectedly brings their name into a conversation. Don't automatically interpret that as a sign that you need to reconnect. Sometimes the past simply reminds you how far you've come. You can remember without returning. You can forgive without reopening the door. You can love what something once meant to you without needing it back in your life. That is freedom. And Cancer, your healing is also teaching you to protect your heart. Don't give unlimited access to people who haven't shown that they can respect it. Protect your energy. Protect your peace. Protect the life you're building. You don't have to explain every boundary. You don't have to feel guilty for choosing yourself. And you don't have to give your best energy to people who only show up when they need something. You are learning to recognize the difference between someone who appreciates you and someone who simply benefits from having you around. That lesson is incredibly valuable. There is also a beautiful sense of reward here. It's as if life is saying, you finally understand. You finally understand why certain people had to leave. You finally understand why certain doors had to close. You finally understand why certain situations couldn't continue. And because you've learned those lessons, you're now able to make different choices. You know better. So you do better. You choose better. You attract better. Cancer, you don't need to become someone else to receive better things. You simply need to continue becoming more authentically yourself. That is your transformation. That is your strength. And that is your new beginning. So as you move through August 24th, remember this. You are not responsible for making people understand your worth. You are not responsible for making someone regret losing you. You are not responsible for proving that you were the best thing they ever had. Your responsibility is to protect your peace and keep walking toward your future. If someone from your past looks back, that's their journey. If someone regrets their choices, that's their lesson. If someone realizes too late what they had, that's their realization. Your chapter is different. You are moving forward. You are becoming lighter. You are closing karmic cycles. You are stepping into new beginnings. And you are attracting people who appreciate the person you are becoming. Cancer, the strongest message for you on August 24th is simple. Don't look backward just because someone else finally learned how to appreciate you. Keep your eyes on the road ahead. Keep your heart protected. Keep your standards high. Keep believing in your abilities. And keep choosing the life that brings you peace. Because your greatest reward is not knowing that someone regrets losing you. Your greatest reward is reaching the point where you no longer need them to regret it. You are free. You are moving forward. You are becoming stronger. And it feels good to finally be yourself.